So I'm starting my bread process. This is what I have. I have the mixture of the flour, whatever mixture you have, either for rye or for rye. And then the main water that you have, that's gonna be mixing. Then you have salt pre-measured. And then when you mix starter or leaven with a little extra flour, that's to start leaven going before you put it into the bread. And then this is when you add the salt. So when you add the salt to the dough, you need to add some water so it actually dissolves better. So this is how I start the process. And I will do the next step once. Also, I keep everything in the oven at 87 degrees and proving. So I can put, see this is proof 87 degrees. So if you have that on your oven, that will be really helpful. So this is the second step. We had flour here and water, and so these two actually do double. So flour and water, and we put them into this and mixed and put in a proving oven for several hours, so the leaven has a chance to rise. And this is what is gonna start our when we mix this flour with water. So, and this is this next step. So we're gonna put water in here and mix it and let it sit for an hour before adding one of these into this. So this is the next step. I poured the water into the mixer and mixer bowl, and so it's mixing right now. It takes about 5 to 7 minutes. And so after that, we'll leave it for an hour to kind of rest. And after it's done resting, we will add one of these into the flour, into the mixture. So now we started, so this is second batch that I mixed. So this is actually rye, the other one is white. So I'm making actually 6 loaves, so it will be 3 and 3. And now I'm putting it into the proving oven along with these. It's already, they raise pretty well. I see there are a lot of bubbles. So that's a good sign. And off they go into that proving oven over there. And these two little containers, they are the ones that I'll be mixing salt with. So it's also kept at the same temperature. And my proving oven is set for 87 degrees. I found that every time I have it at 87 degrees, the bread comes out always the same. There's no changes in the, so it's very, very consistent. So this is the next step, and we are putting this leaven into the dough that we prepared earlier. So it's been in the oven for an hour, a little over an hour in my case. But, so we put it in and it will start working the yeast through. Hey, I'm mixing the dough. Can I call you back? Thanks. So that was scary. And so I'm doing the second thing here as well. So that's the first one. I like to wet my fingers so then they don't stick as much to the dough. gonna pick it up and put it all the leaven inside. And so that should be good. Then cover, and it goes into the oven for proving for 15 minutes before we next step will be salt. Set 15-minute timer. So now it's been 15 minutes, so that's time for the salt to be added. So back to proving oven, which is at 87 degrees, and I have these two last bottles of water, and I have pre-measured salt. And for the regular double batch, I do 23 grams. Original recipe calls for a little bit less. I like it a little on the saltier side. And if you see the bubbles already forming here, so that means the leaven is working through the dough. So, and they want the dough, the leaven to be activating the dough before adding the salt, because it somewhat counteracts the action of the leaven, of the yeast, natural yeast. So then I pour all the water, and then start mixing again. So kind of stretch and fold, they call it. So trying to incorporate all the salt into the dough. So I don't overdo it. There will be some water still left, which is totally fine. All the water will be absorbed by the dough in about 3-4 mixings. So all right, so that's about right. I always keep bowl with water, with hot water. It helps too. Like if you watch your fingers, the dough doesn't stick, and then you can wash off the flour. The second goes for 15 minutes until first stretch and fold. All right. So this is one of the 6 fold and stretches that we'll do. I have this little program that every time I make a fold, I put, hey, 15 minutes is how long I need to wait. 2 second fold, third fold. After 2 first folds, third folds, you have to space them 30 minutes. And then there's a bulk rise between fold 6 in 90 minutes, and then you pre-shape. And before that I had, when you add starter and add salt and autolyse, which is just mixing the bread. So that's like a little cheat sheet. So this is first of these 6 folds that I'll do stretch and folds. So now I take him out, and you can see the water got a little bit more absorbed into the dough. So I just wet my hand and go stretch and fold. Try not to rip it. And I do like 6, 8, 10 times, whatever feels like it can handle at this end, because it will develop more gluten later on, and it will be much more malleable without it being, ripping off. But for now, so this is what we want to do. And that's it. We leave it for, so we will do 6 of these, and maybe I'll skip next couple, and then I'll do the later ones, the next ones. All right, back into this cooking oven at 87 degrees. So this is my last stretch and fold. It's, we did 2 15 minutes, several 30 minutes, and 1, this is last stretch and fold before bulk rise for an hour and a half. And after that, we're gonna be shaping it. So you can see the bubbles are appearing, and it absorbed all the water. So I'm going to stretch and fold like that. And the gluten has formed, so it's not pulling apart as much as it used to before. So it becomes more like the dough that we want to bake. even though it still has to proof. So this is last stretch and fold. And the next thing we'll be doing is shaping it. All right. So this is the next step. I am about to start pre-shaping, and I'm using different forms for the bread. So some of them are, so these 4 forms, just regular forms, and these breads that I'll put here will go into the Dutch oven. And I have these from Lodge. It's going to be top and bottom. So that's going to be preheated tomorrow morning. So for these, I do need to put grease them, and I use coconut oil, which actually adds really, really nice flavor. So I'll put maybe like a teaspoon and a little more into each one of them, and then I heat them up a bit over the fire on the stove, just so the coconut oil melts. And then, yeah, so that's right. And then for these, I have these wafer towels. I put them on, and then I use rice flour to dust them lightly, because that helps for the bread or dough not to stick. All right, so, and I'm gonna heat these up. I'm gonna grease them, and then the next step will be the pre-shaping. So, time to start pre-shaping. And this is, you can see how much it raised. So I need to split this into 3. Usually I can do it actually exactly by weight, because I know the weight of the container, so I just split it into 3 pieces. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and split it in 3 first, and then we'll continue. So I have 3 loaves here of approximately 890 grams. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start shaping it. In order to shape it, you need a scraper, one of these, and just start going through a circular motion like this. So what it does, it creates a tension on the surface, and so it becomes more like a ball, more and more. So once I do this, you can actually kind of guide it on the board and leave it. So here's another one. These are kind of close together, but I'll see if I can maybe get them. Yeah, a little too close, but I'll move this boy out. So. You see how it becomes just kind of gathers into a ball. So, and then last one. All right, so that looks good. And slowly it will start spreading apart. Now, we need to let them rest just for a minute or so, and then what I do, I dust them, because now we need to fold them once. So we can do this here as well, and this one. So now I make sure it doesn't stick, and I flip it, and then we do stretch it and kind of fold like this. So, and leave it. And so we'll do the same thing with this roll. Flip it out, fold, and fold the sides. And kind of the bottom as well, so it creates this loaf. And same here. We'll do this, sides, and create loaf. Now, I do that one more time, and what it does, it, you know, when we tuck things inside, when it bakes, there's a more, it has more kind of gases and power to expand and rise. So that becomes much more, much more fluffy and pleasant. So same thing. Second time it will be a little bit harder because we're stretching the dough to kind of almost to the limit, and sometimes if it starts sticky, just get another dusting. And like this. So this one is already, will be ready to go. So fold, top, one side, another side, and the bottom. And tuck it inside. If possible, try to make sure the surface doesn't break, because then it becomes sticky. If it happens, no big deal. So fold once, then one side, another side. And the second time is a little trickier, but still it's just fine. So this is ready to go. Now we are ready to place them into the bowl. So 2 white breads will go into a Dutch oven. So they're gonna go into here. So I'm gonna pick it up. I wanna make sure it doesn't stick. So it's already dusted with a rice flour, which is very helpful. And they're gonna go seam up. And if they're falling apart, I'm just gonna close the seam. So that's good. And then we'll get another bowl, throw seam up, and close that seam if it's not completely closed. So this is good. Now I'm gonna cover it, and this will be the second one. So this will go in the fridge until the morning. So these two are ready. And now this one's a little bit different. So I'm gonna drop that with the seam down. That's it. And for that one, I'm gonna have a different cover. I have these shower caps that you cover them, and that's also gonna go in the fridge. So now I'm gonna, you see how much this raised? So this one is with rye. So this dough behaves quite differently. It rips much easier and way more sticky. So I'm gonna split it into 3 parts, and then we'll continue. So this is rye dough. Much more sticky, much more, it has much less gluten, or way less gluten. but we pretty much work it the same way. Eventually it will come into a ball. So I had to do only 2 balls for now, and then I'll do the 3rd one later. So you see the surface kind of tensions. So this is very formless first, but you start going like that. And you will notice that rye dough has much more sour taste, very, very distinct taste, different from regular white. So, same thing, dust it. All right, so if you work the dough too fast, sometimes it starts ripping, so you have to kind of give it time to stretch as you work it. So this is first fold. All right, I'll start doing the second fold. There's a lot of bubbles you can feel inside. So that's the second. Yeah, a little bit sticky. So that's ideal. Now you will have like dough sticking to your fingers and to the spatula or scraper. I do collect that and I just drop it in the bottom of the pan. It absorbs all the oil and actually is very, you get those pieces a little bit separate from the rest of the loaf. And they are super tasty. So they kind of like a fried mini breads inside. So I just collect it. And so I'll just drop it in there. So these forms are from Russia. And this is local. These are aluminum forms. Done. And this one. And they will expand in the fridge overnight. And when you bake them, they will just take up the whole form. So I have one more to do, but you get the idea. So I'm finishing up the 3rd one. I already did the first fold. Do the second fold. Shaping fold. All right. So collect all the dough from here. This is the form. It's going to go into good. put the shower caps in them, and they go in the fridge overnight. Usually, so today, right now, like 10:30, I will be baking probably starting the preheat around 5:30 or so, 5:30 to 6. But that cold proofing, that's what gives really, really good taste. So we'll continue tomorrow morning. So it's next morning. I just got these out of the fridge, and I preheated the oven. So this is what we're gonna do next. So these are the bottoms of the Dutch oven, and I put parchment paper in them because that helps the bread not to stick. So, and then you can have a lump it in the center, hopefully. Alright. Sometimes it's a little bit off, so you just take it and move it. You can see it can stick to the side if it's not in the paper. So next, what we're gonna do is dust them. And this is pure for just looks. So you dust them and then you score them. And scoring is important, which is cutting the wall line. So just take a razor and just cut deep line in. And that helps it to open up as it rises. So then you can do little additional things like and then goes into oven, and we're going to cover it. And first is for 20 minutes. So we'll do it 500 degrees, 20 minutes covered, and then 30 minutes at 450 uncovered. So it's been 20 minutes, and we are turning it down to 450 and removing the lid. See how it up. So 30 minutes. All right. So it's been 30 minutes. The alarm just went off, and the bread is ready. So this is what came out. Hopefully you can see. So I'm preheating the oven back to 500 to the second batch, and this will be. Let's see. Yeah. So will be these. And I am also dusting them, then covering them with aluminum foil and baking at 500 degrees for 30 minutes covered and 40 uncovered, since they are in the forms. and they are rising nicely. You can see they fill the forms completely. So, dust first. And then these are a little tricky because the dough is much softer. Still. All right, so one, to make sure they're a little bit off so they don't stick to the dough as it rises. So a little bit raised up from the Alright, and they go in the oven for 30 minutes this time. So I'm gonna and I'm gonna go for a run and back in 30 minutes. So we've had 30 minutes, the timer's going off. So we're gonna uncover it now. And it looks nice and fried really well. So you see why we cut it, because it rises up so much. So this is 3 rye and 1 white. So we're turning it down to 425 and turning timer for 40 minutes. And so it's better to have bread a little bit on the darker side than the lighter side, because it gives really nice caramelized crust. So 40 minutes, we'll be back. So I added 5 extra minutes just to give it a little darker crust, and it's ready. So it looked great. So this is what we have now. 6 loaves of nice bread. Now this has been out for an hour, so you need to keep it at least for an hour before cutting in. But this is it. Hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, let me know.